So for this very short tutorial, I want to quickly introduce you to the power of the Vlookup function, and also I'll be using this opportunity to talk about data validation and how to create dynamic charts. Alright, so for a fictitious company, we want to employ, we've actually employed, let's say, 4 sales people to sell a particular product for us. So let's quickly create the data set together. All right, so the 4 persons are Dele, Obina, Insikak, and Musa, and want to monitor their sales performance for 6 months or 5 months. So January, using my autofill, I'll fill all the way to May, for example. Now we need to make this story complete. All right, so how do I push in their sales muscle code records? So instead of manually punching in values, I can select the block area and use what we call the run between function, tab it in. So I want sales values from, let's say, 30,000, comma, to about 100,000, 1, 2, 3. Now holding down my control button, I'll press enter. All right, so it auto-populates the area for me. Now these values are randomly generated, so over time they'll change. So to prevent that from happening, I'll click on copy, then click on the drop down under paste and click on paste as values only. Now with this, the generated values would not change over time. Alright, they'll be treated as regular numbers, not as random numbers. So let's introduce our 1000 separators, remove the decimal portion, and we're good to go. Now I have sales data for 4 of our salespersons for a 5-month period. Now I need to quickly come here and do something like this, push in another label, just the same label, salespersons. I want all the salespersons' names to be stored for me in this particular cell as a list. So how do I do that? I'll move to the data tab. Under the data tab, I'll come to the data tools group of commands. Then I'll click on the data validation option, data validation. Now by default, every cell in your workbook accepts any value, but now I'm going to instruct Excel to change that to list. All right, then it will ask me to provide the source for that list. I'll click on this collapse button. Now go ahead and select the names of my salespersons, then click on this again, and I'm good to go. Click on OK. Now did you notice the drop down menu there? So with this, I can choose any name I want at any given time. All right, so excuse me, so I need to punch in the month labels again all over. Now go ahead and do this. Now you soon understand what I want to do. I want a situation where when I choose a particular salesperson, all right, his monthly reports for the different or respective months. Like I earlier said, we want a situation where when I pick a particular salesperson's name, his sales records for the respective month should be populated. All right, so let's start off with our formula. So to start off a formula, we start with our equal to. So the function we want to use right now is called the Vlookup function. The Vlookup function looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table and returns a value in the same row for a column you specify. Now note this, by default the table must be sorted in an ascending order. All right, so in our table we have about 6 columns. We have salespersons, January, February, March, April, and May. Now we'll be looking at how to use the VLOOKUP to get values from this particular data list, okay, because it's not a table. All right, so tab in your VLOOKUP function. Now the VLOOKUP function requires about 4 options for it to work or give you a result. Now it's asking for the lookup value, All right, so what's the lookup value? Now, our lookup value is anything we have in this particular cell, cell A11. So at the moment, what we can see there is daily, but remember it's a validation list, and we can change the value in that list to any other salesperson's name. All right, so remember, when we say lookup value, we're actually asking Excel to check for whatever value we have in the cell A11 at any given time. All right, now putting your comma, the emphasis has jumped to the table array option. So what exactly do we mean by table array? Now, table array means the whole of this table, the whole of this table per se. All right. Now, it has selected the table, which runs through cells A3 to F7. Now, putting another comma, and is asking of us rather to supply column index number. Now, before you understand the column index number, I believe you understand the meaning of lookup value and the table array. The lookup tells Excel what to look for, in this case daily. That's at this time, what we have in cell A11 is daily. Now, where can it find daily? So that's the meaning of the table array. So go into this table, locate daily, this daily. Now, when we say column index number, we're saying when you find daily in this table, you can return all these values. You can see these values are on the same row with daily. So currently we're on what month? We're on the January month. So let's start counting the columns from salesperson. So the salesperson is column 1, January is column 2, February is column 3, March is column 4, April is 5, and finally May is 6. So since we're writing this formula under the January column, all right, the column index becomes what? 2 for January. We'll put in a comma. Now, it's asking if we want an approximate match or an exact match. I'll be talking about the approximate match option in a more advanced Vlookup tutorial after this. But at this level, all we need is an exact match. All right. So tab it in. All right. Exact match. Then you can close the bracket. So with this, we've supplied the 4 values or options the Vlookup function requires to return the results. So we've indicated or called it attention to the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and also we are very, very specific about the match return. All right, we're saying it must be an exact match, meaning it should look for daily exactly the way daily is spelled out. All right, now hit the enter button. It returns 57273. Now let's quickly format these values. Remember, click on your home tab, format painter, select all this, and we're good to go. Now you can see daily is 57,273 and this is 57,273. Let's change this name to another name, maybe Obina. Now Obina brought in 58,767. Let's go confirm from the parent table, and that's exactly the same value we have. Let's do one more. Let's go to INSECAC. For the month of January, INSECAC brought in 55,332, which corresponds to what we have in our base table. Now let's go ahead and do the next one for February. So equal to Vlookup. What we're looking up, remember, it can be any name. What we're interested in is just the cell address, which is A11. So whatever Excel sees at any given time in A11 becomes our lookup value. Put in a comma. Now it's asking for the table array, just like we did initially. Select the entire table set. All right. Put in your comma. Now, what's the column index number for February? So, like we counted, salesperson is 1, January is 2, February is 3. All right, so you punch in 3, and the exact match can be represented with 0. All right, so close your bracket and press your enter button. Now, it's so easy to come here to select the table when we want to refer to the table array. Now, my question is this: what if your table is made up of maybe 2,000 or 5,000 rows of information? So would you go about selecting the table every time you need to specify your table array? No. So this is a better option. Select the table once, then come into the name box. The name box is this box here, all right? Then give a name to that particular table. So let's call it sales TBL, all right? TBL. Now with this, Excel knows that whenever I reference this name, sales TBL, I'm referring to this selection. So let's see that in action. Now let's do for March. So equal to Vlookup. While we're looking up whatever we have in A11, what's our table array? Once I start typing sales, all right, it gives me the option to select what I've already created before now. All I need is tab it in. Whoops, automatically it has selected the word region for me. Now what's the column index number for March? The column index number for March, let's count. Salesperson is 1, January is 2, February is 3, March is what? 4. So you punch in 4, then exact match is 0, close your brackets, and you're good to go. Now let's do for April, VLOOKUP. What we're looking up whatever we have in A11 in our table called sales TBL, and column index for April. I guess you should know what the column index for April is by now. That's 5, and an exact match of 0. We'll close that, enter. Then finally we've gotten to May, so we'll do VLOOKUP tab. What we're looking up whatever we have in cell A11 in the table called sales TBL, and May has a column index of 6, and we need an exact match, which is represented with what? 0. Now we have all our values for the respective months returned. Now note there's something I actually skipped using the autofill. Since we've calculated for January, I could have just used the autofill. Yes, if you try that while using Office 2016, 2019, you might run into issues, all right? So in an advanced video on VLOOKUP, I'll be showing you a trick or a workaround on how to use autofill with what? VLOOKUP, all right? Now let's see if everything works well for us. Now let me change to Musa. Automatically all the values will change to Musa's respective sales records. For January, Musa brought in this and it corresponds with what we have in our base table. If you read through the row for Musa, every other thing corresponds. If we change the salesperson to another person, maybe Obina, same applies as well. All right, everything corresponds. Now we've created a dynamic lookup list in a way. Now the beauty of this dynamic lookup list is this: if we go ahead now and select just these 2 rows of information, and we go to the insert tab to insert a chart, you come to the charts group, insert a regular 2D column chart, for example. So let's just click on that to insert it. Now look at what happens when, now you can see the chart is specifically referencing only Obina's sales performance. All right, so look at this. When I change the salesperson's name to another person, for example, Daily, automatically the chart would adjust to that change from my Mozart selection. All right, let's try one more for Insikak. The chart would also adjust itself. Then finally for Musa. All right, so this dynamic adjustment or changes is basically one of the things you might really find handy, and that makes you look more professional in your presentations when presenting to senior management or specific clients and all that. Now with this, you can talk about a particular salesperson at a given time. So with this, we can see his performance over the 5-month period. All right, so I can readily say that Musa started well in January. All right, there was a drop in February and a further drop in March. It picked up in April and also improved further in May. All right, so that brings us to the end of this particular session. Alright, try it out. In a more advanced VLOOKUP tutorial, I'll be talking more about the VLOOKUP function and other lookup functions. Now, if you like this video, kindly hit the like button, and if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, kindly smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you get alerted when I post new videos. Thank you and God bless.